not carry Donald Trump's Saturday night rally. Even Fox News ignored it. But Fox is serving the ex-president's agenda in lots of other ways. Reporters likened the rally to a revenge tour, and Fox sure knows revenge. To understand why so many Republicans have abandoned democracy, to see why so many believe the big lie, to get why so many are trying to rewrite voting rules, you have to hear the poisonous propaganda that the GOP's activist base is listening to. You have to really hear it. It's coming more from Sean Hannity than from Trump right now. So that's what we did this week. We watched every episode of Sean Hannity's show and we color-coded it. As you can see, we focused on his language, the insults and phrases that he repeats every night. Nasty little words like these.
Socialist, stalker, weak, failure, shameless, psychotic indoctrination, hellholes.
And that's just the beginning. On Hannity's show, President Biden is President Sippy Cup. Biden's a weak, frail, cognitive mess, Hannity says, yet the Democratic Party is portrayed as an existential threat. Hannity calls it the New Green Deal Socialist Party, and he labels some Dems extremists. He calls American cities hellholes. Sometimes he calls them Democratic-run hellholes. And he says the media is a mob full of, quote, stalkers. Just think on that for a minute. Fox claims to employ lots of reporters, but their primetime star calls reporters stalkers. So the idea of the news media as a check and balance, as a form of accountability, flawed but essential. No, no, no. On Hannity, the media is the enemy, even though Fox is the media. Here's my point. Don't get numb to this abusive language, because it is through these insults, it is through these attacks that Hannity wields power. This dark, dire language is fundamentally authoritarian. It softens the ground for a movement like Stop the Steal, Trump's ploy to actually steal the election. It portrays anyone who disagrees as not legitimate, as not American. It's not opinion, what Hannity does. You know that's been the Fox defense for decades, right? Opinion shows. We have opinion shows. No. Saying, I don't know, well, yes, we should keep the 2017 tax cuts in place. That's an opinion. Let's expand universal pre-K. That's an opinion. Hannity is spouting something else. Hannity is spouting poison. Denouncing democratic norms like a free press, that's poison. Corrosing the public discourse is poisonous. And the Murdochs let it happen every day, and then it radicalizes people. People like Hannity's colleague Tucker Carlson, who's out there calling the Joint Chiefs Chairman a stupid pig. God bless the USA that we're allowed, that's okay, that's normal, and yet there's nothing healthy and constructive about it. It's destructive. And the language just gets more and more vile, with the propagandist on One American News suggesting the Democrats could be killed for supposedly stealing the election. So this is a big lie on top of a big lie on top of a big lie. Just listen to how coldly he talked about executions.
What are the consequences for traitors who meddled with our sacred democratic process and tried to steal power by taking away the voices of the American people? Well, in the past, America had a very good solution for dealing with such traitors: execution.
And then, of course, he tried to weasel out of what he said by saying that he was just reporting the legal punishment for treason. Right. Pro-Trump media is getting viewers comfortable with violence. That's really what's going on here. These people live, eat, sleep, breathe the election fraud lie, and they want their followers to do the same. The level of rancor, resentment, all-out hate for fellow Americans just keeps intensifying. Look at a website like the Gateway Pundit. The mainstream media on there is evil, and Nancy Pelosi is a demon, and Dr. Anthony Fauci is the greatest mass killer of the 21st century. On a show like Hannity's, reporters are stalkers and cities are hellholes. And you listen to enough of this filth, and you stop recognizing your country, and you start living in fear or disgust. And you might stop at nothing to save America. That's what the signs at Trump's rallies say. Save America. But do they even know what they're trying to save anymore? Do they even know the real America? Adam Serwer joins me now. He's a staff writer for The Atlantic. His book, The Cruelty is the Point, hits stores on Tuesday. Adam, you coined that phrase when President Trump was abusing his power several years ago. Now your book is a collection of essays and new work that you've written. What's the application of that phrase today? The cruelty is the point. I guess I'm asking, is the cruelty still the point?
Yes, it is, but that's for reasons that go far beyond Donald Trump. Most people think of cruelty as an individual problem, and it is that because, it's part of human nature. Anybody can be cruel. But what I'm focused on in the book is cruelty as a part of politics, specifically the way that it's used to demonize certain groups so that you can justify denying people basic rights under the Constitution and exclude them from the political process. And that part of that process is what you were discussing in your monologue when people are talking about treason and executions and all that kind of nonsense. What they're saying is that the other party did not legitimately win the election, and so extreme measures are justified in order to prevent them from doing something horrible to you. And this has a very old pedigree in American politics. Unfortunately, it goes back to the founding of the country. It continues to haunt us to this day. So it's really not a Trump thing. And to the extent that our system allows one party to hold power without winning a majority of the votes, it becomes more and more urgent to persuade your base that they're on the verge of destruction. And so anything they do to prevent that destruction is justified, which is why you're seeing this sort of on-air musing about executions for traitors. It's violent stuff, but the reason why they're doing it is to persuade their viewers to accept extreme measures if those are taken.
It's hard to explain to folks who don't watch Fox or OAN just how radicalized the content's become, right? Like, I'm in New York, it's not a hellhole, we've got our problems, we're gonna be fine, right? Like, Sean Hannity's control room's in New York, it's not a hellhole, it's all good, right? And yet every night he lies